How safe are submarine tours? Should you go on one? On June 18, an experimental submersible carrying a pilot and 4 passengers to the wreck of Titanic went missing. After several days of search and rescue operations, authorities determined the OceanGate Expedition's Titan had suffered a catastrophic implosion, killing all on board. The incident has understandably caused public concern about the submarine industry at large, and travelers who have booked or are looking to book sub-trips might be having second thoughts. But are they warranted? It's natural to be a little nervous about diving in a submarine or submersible. They are, after all, enclosed environments that take you beneath the sea. But generally speaking, there's not much cause for worry. A certified submarine is a lot safer than public perception. However, for most touring submarines, it is uncommon for things to go wrong. Every potentially dangerous scenario has been evaluated, and an emergency plan is developed with the crew training on it regularly to ensure proficiency. Here's what you need to know before you book a submarine or submersible tour. What happened to the Titan? Titan was an experimental submersible designed by OceanGate Expeditions to bring tourists to the Titanic wreck site deep in the North Atlantic Ocean, about 12,500 feet deep. On June 18, during a scheduled dive, the expedition team lost contact with the sub, prompting a multi-day search and rescue effort by international groups. Debris from the sub was discovered by a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, indicating that the vessel suffered a catastrophic implosion. While the investigation is ongoing, it is likely that the sub's pressure hull, the pressurized compartment for passengers, failed in some way, and the pressure of the surrounding water caused it to implode. What's the difference between a submarine and a submersible? Submarines and submersibles are both underwater craft. Submarines operate independently, they can sail into and out of ports under their own power. Submersibles rely on support ships or platforms for their operations, including transportation to and from dive sites. Titan was a submersible that operated from the support ship Polar Prince, a former Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker. Both submarines and submersibles are used for tourism, with the former popular in island destinations like Hawaii and the Caribbean, and the latter more common on expedition cruises. How safe are submersibles? When you look at the safety record for classed submersibles, you'll find that they're far safer than planes and cars in terms of fatalities. Classed or accredited human-occupied vehicles, submersibles, have enjoyed an enviable and unblemished safety record for more than 50 years. According to a private submersible designer and manufacturer. Collectively, classed subs from around the world carry more than 1 million people a year on dives and have done so for almost 4 decades without a single fatality. The key here is that those submersibles are all certified, or classed, by third-party classification societies. Unfortunately, OceanGate did not seek classification for Titan. Naval submarines have lost thousands of submariners, mostly due to warfare rather than accidents. However, the Navy has vastly improved submarine safety through the SubSafe Quality Assurance Program, which was implemented in 1968 and has since dramatically reduced major incidents. What oversight exists in the submarine and submersible industry? Legally, there isn't much oversight at all. There are no international laws governing submarine and submersible operation. But submarine and submersible operators typically do take it upon themselves to certify their vessels for safety, which is often required for insurance purposes. Naval submarines are certified by the Navy, and private submarines are certified privately. Private certification is handled by third-party classification societies, of which there are many around the world, including DNV and Lloyd's Register. If you plan on taking a sub-tour, ensure that your vessel is classed by a society. The process analyzes everything from material selection to system operations, and it includes a dive to the maximum operating depth. Classing isn't a one-and-done sort of deal. It continues throughout the lifespan of the sub. The Class Society will annually inspect the hull, structure, safety systems, life support equipment, and the functioning of mechanical, fluid, and electrical systems. Subs also undergo more in-depth surveys at longer intervals, with class renewal every 5 years. What are your options for rescue if something goes wrong? Subs have numerous ways to surface, so if one system fails, another will kick in. For example, most subs have a drop weight on the bottom, which helps with balance under normal circumstances but can also be jettisoned to cause the sub to surface. But in the event a sub does get stuck at the bottom, most will be at a depth where undersea rescue is possible, whether by divers or another sub. This is because in case of emergency, there are vents a scuba diver could access that would fill our ballast with compressed air and bring the submarine to the surface. By contrast, Titan was diving to 12,500 feet, the depth of the Titanic wreck. Remember, one thing to consider, however, is the location in which you're diving. A number of new expedition ships carry submersibles, which can be deployed in remote and sometimes dangerous environments like Antarctica. In these remote locations, rescue may be much more difficult, given how long it might take rescue crews to arrive or other variables like sea ice. Should you take a sub tour? Sub tours offer a perspective of the ocean that most people don't get to see. So long as the operator adheres to proper protocols such as classing and regular inspection, they're a safe way to witness all sorts of sea life. But there are benefits to underwater tourism. Yes. You have a tour guide that can tell you about everything you're seeing and help you develop a connection with the water. It's important we foster a connection with the water as it makes up the majority of our planet and desperately needs our help and attention. Considering taking an underwater tour? Questions to ask your tour provider. Is the sub classed and by whom? How often do you inspect the sub? What is the maximum depth the sub can dive to, and how deep will we go on our dive? How long can the sub stay underwater in an emergency situation? Find out about the oxygen supply on board, as well as stores of food and water. If the sub gets stuck on the seafloor, how will we be rescued? Does the sub have an emergency beacon that will broadcast our location in an emergency? Tour operators should be able to answer this question with ease, as they should have numerous safety plans in place. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.